for them. That one's for us. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you have a cell phone, please go ahead and mute it right now. If you need to talk to anyone or take any text, please feel free to step out and come back out. You're not gonna bother us if you have to go out and come back. I'm going to go ahead and declare quorum. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Again, thank you all for coming. Do we have any? We had somebody in for public comment.
I'm sorry.
David Duncan, if you could just come up here to the podium. Councilman Huerta, can you maybe let him borrow here? I'm sorry.
So we moved here to Meadowbrook Estates about a year ago with HOA restrictions that we thought were going to be enforced, and they haven't been. Even the building itself is not really close to the restrictions that people place. So now what we've done is we went from a minimum of 2,000 square foot home of living area down to 1,200. And we were just wondering if there's any way y'all can help us with this concern, because our property values are going to plummet, and it's not going to affect him in any way. It's going to affect us. More than just square footage.
This section, we really can't get into a back and forth discussion. I know that I talked to our city administrator and you've been kind of talking to him. So I'm actually going to let him reach out to you, and then, he'll probably just let us know via email or something what we can do and what we can do.
So with these kids
Well, again, I appreciate you guys coming out and talking to us. And what neighborhood are you talking about? No. Okay. The new one? Okay. So,
They go to.
Sal, you had something?
Oh, just I was updating our attorney on that issue because we were aware of that agreement contact with the builder.
Okay.
And it's
So,
pending a conversation.
so our city administrator will work with our attorney and see what the agreement was, and then we'll of course keep you guys informed, and they'll keep us informed, and we'll just see what we can do. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys coming out.
But a licensed inspector does go out to inspect.
So they have to have a building permit. And the building permit, I mean, they don't have to abide by the restrictions to build in there. So in other words, well, that's what I'm asking. So as they're building and they're signing off on the plans,
Yeah, so we will, he will work with our attorney and we'll, stay in touch with y'all and they'll let us know what the agreements were. Uh, Go ahead and give it to. Well, I appreciate you all coming in and letting us know, and we'll definitely look into it and address it for sure. We're going to move on to the next item, discussion and action items to be considered. Item A, discuss, consider, and take action to adopt the proposed 2024-2025 annual city budget with record vote being required. Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Candela. Do I have a second? And a second by Councilman Alvaro. And any discussion?
Are we gonna go over all the changes or we talked about on Saturday, or we're going?
The documents that you have do reflect the changes that council discussed at its workshop held on Saturday. Saturday's workshop, I believe, was the fifth session that council had to cover the budget. In summary, what you have before you now is what would be considered a balanced budget. The changes that were made to the budget draft on Saturday primarily consisted of a reduction in the proposed increase for water and sewer rates. What had been in the draft considered Saturday was a 10.1% increase. That 10.1% increase consisted of a 7.1% increase in the water rates charged by the San Patricio Municipal Water District, which of course receives its water from the city of Corpus Christi. So when Corpus Christi goes up, San Pat goes up, and last year, as a matter of policy, this council approved an increase of at least the cost of water to you, to the city. So after deliberations, the council decided to roll back the proposed increase from 10% to 8.1%, providing a little bit of extra there to cover things such as the increase of materials and staffing costs. There was also a proposed increase in the solid waste fees of 6%. After deliberation, that was rolled back to the actual 4% increase was provided for within the contract with the solid waste provider, that being Republic Services. The tax rates have not been modified by council during this workshop since it was originally proposed. We do have our tax assessor collector here with us tonight, Ms. Marcy, because when the discussions at last week's council meeting indicated that we might be shifting the adoption of our tax rates to September 30th, while that is certainly within the rights of council to do, there would have been consequences. When we discussed the tax rate initially and set the calendar for the year, for the process, it was noted by the tax assessor collector that she has contracts for printing of the tax receipts. And if the September 23rd, I think it was, deadline which was explained when the budget calendar was adopted and the September 10th approval of the tax rate was set. If we had missed that September 23rd cutoff date, the city of Odem would be on its own for the printing of tax statements. And at 70 cents a mailing, that could become very, very pricey very quickly. Not to mention the fact that if we didn't make the September 10th date for setting the tax rate today, we start over with giving the public notices that are required under the statutes.
So we're still within the time frame
We're good
with today.
today.
Okay.
We're not good tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, and we did accomplish that. And so in working the changes that were requested Saturday into the budget, you have a net overall increase of revenues of about $100,000. The same is true for the amount of expenses. We did incorporate within the budget by reallocating some utility system expenses for maintenance and repairs towards the benefit for the meter system that has been discussed for the replacement of the city's meters.
So I know one thing you want to give to us, is that they were financed based on the previous budget, you know. And
We are able to incorporate that, and we can talk in more detail of his agenda item after the budget's not adopted. But in summary, this budget does reflect a annual payment of $120,000 for the meter fund.
Any other discussion?
So we have a motion to adopt the proposed 2024-2025 annual city budget with a record vote being required. If there's no more discussion, we'll move forward with a vote. Place 1?
Yes.
Place 2? Place 3?
Yes.
Place 4?
Yes.
Place 5? Motion carries. I just want to say that we had a very, very good workshop on this weekend. A lot of people brought information that they had pulled together. Hopefully, we'll have those types of discussions earlier and not kind of get towards the end of the line, but it was very good. It was a really good workshop, and we got a lot accomplished in a relatively quickly. So we'll move on to item B, discuss and consider and take action to adopt the tax rate with the following language included in the resolution. And I will just kind of read this year's proposed tax rate exceeds the no new revenue tax rate. The vote on the ordinance or resolution or order setting the tax rate must be a record vote, and 60% of the governing body must vote in favor of the adoption of the tax rate. A motion to adopt the ordinance, resolution, or order must be made in the following form, and that's the wording that will be needed. We did agree that we would go with the voter approved rate of 0.532605. Do I have a motion?
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.0532605, which is effectively a 2.41% increase in the tax rate.
So I have a motion by Councilman Huerta to move with the property tax rate to be increased by the adoption of the tax rate of 0.532605, which is effectively a 2.41% increase in the tax rate. I have a second by Councilman Falcon. Do we have any discussion?
Point of order, Mayor?
Sorry.
The breakdown between the M&O and the INS tax rate must be stated as part of the resolution, please. The 0.532605 tax rate is comprised of an M&O tax rate of 0.525733 for M&O, and an INS tax rate of 0.006872.
Give me the M and O again. Give me the M and O.
So just to state, so I add, go ahead.
You just have to state a breakdown of the tax rate.
What's the M and O again, please?
0.525733 as reflected on the screen.
0.525733.
There you go, Billy.
And the INS.
0.006872
Okay.
for a grand total 0.502605. And the total digit
So you want to go ahead and rephrase your motion?
Rephrase it, I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.0532605, which is M and O of 0.525733, and the INS, which is 0.006872, effectively a 2.41% increase in the tax rate.
No, second.
And second by Councilman Falcon. Any other discussion? So we will move forward with that. We will take a vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5,
Yes.
and the motion carries.
See y'all later. Go watch the debate.
Oh, everybody else.
Go watch the debate.
Together now.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to item C, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the San Patricio County Multi-Jurisdictional Emergency Operation Basic Plan. Do I have a motion?
Are we discussing it first?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the San Pat County Multi-District Jurisdictional Emergency Operation.
Do I have a
I
second?
got a candy in my mouth.
So we have a motion by Councilman Falcon to take action to approve the San Patricio County Municipal Multi-Jurisdictional Emergency Operation Basic Plan, a second by Councilman Candela. Yeah, we'll move on to discussion. Do you want to
Sure.
start it off?
Yes.
Sal?
So this is a plan that San Patricio County has been building based off some of the feedback that we've been getting. But you don't have it in your packet. We do. It was 52 pages, but it's something y'all are familiar with, and I can bring it up here. Mr. Pettis is up here also from San Pat Emergency Management.
It was emailed to everyone, so you should have it in your email if you want to.
It's in that set I sent you.
Good evening,
Okay.
Mayor, City Council members, staff members. Thank you for having me here and thank you for everything that you do for the city of Odem. My name is Will Davis. I'm the San Patricio County Emergency Management Specialist. I'm here for the 2024 San Patricio County Multi-Jurisdictional Emergency Operations Plan. The San Patricio County Office of Emergency Management would like for the Odem City Council to adopt this plan. The last one was updated in 2019. By requirement, it's supposed to be updated every 5 years. This is the 2024 version. The purpose of the plan is to support the San Patricio County jurisdictions in preparedness by defining organization during an incident, an emergency, or a natural hazards. It helps establish on all hazards operation plan to clarify roles and operational concepts. And it assigns responsibilities during an emergency. It also helps coordinate procedures for achieving emergency management objectives. And finally, it helps coordinate resources before, during, and after the emergency. So it helps us as a jurisdiction, as Sept. 10 to respond uniform during emergencies and natural hazards.
Mr. Rogers, have we used this before, the city of Odem?
Yes.
Okay, so, okay, good.
Yes, and that's kind of what we did
Okay.
during the hurricane, the recent hurricane,
Okay.
where we coordinate with the county and they run and
Okay,
keep
good.
us informed. We set up our own emergency facility here, which would have been the police department. Um, and I think it was, I think we worked pretty good together. I think everything went pretty smooth. There was a lot of information, a lot of good meetings, a lot of feedback. So this was my first one. So I actually I enjoyed taking part in all that and learning because it's a matter of time before we get. I mean, there's another storm out there, and it looks like we're not going to get hit, but eventually, I'm sure it's going to happen. So,
Mhm.
any other questions?
Where's Ingleside?
Inside, they're not part of the plan. Inside on the bay is
Right.
inside and the city of Portland are not part of the plan.
They have their own emergency management.
Okay.
They think they're too close.
That's why Mr. B's moving out of there.
Right.
Epi, do you have any questions or anything? Okay. So any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion to take action to approve the San Patricio County Multi-Jurisdictional Emergency Operation Basic Plan. Motion by Councilman Falcon to approve, second by Councilman Candela. If there's no more discussion, we'll take a vote. Place one, place two, place three, place four.
Yes.
Place five. So the motion carries. Thank you all very much for coming out. I appreciate it. And
It's been an honor.
Thank you.
thank you all. We're going to move on to the item D. Discuss, consider, and take action to approve the proposal from HydroPro Solutions for a citywide remote meter project and to finance the project. Do I have a motion? And do I have a second? So I have a motion by Councilman Candela and second by Councilman Alvaro to approve the proposal for HydroPro Solutions for a citywide remote meter project and to finance the project. I just emailed the city of Ingleside. They used HydroPro for their meter. So I just emailed them because I want them to give me a copy of their proposal to see if it. Hopefully, we're kind of in the same ballpark that they didn't. Maybe they're not charging us maybe more than they charged them over there.
Ask you, I think we rushed. Should we discuss the finances first? And then that, whether we're approved and then we're like.
We're still in the early phases, like nothing's concrete.
Okay.
So this is more just preliminary discussions.
Well, it's a process for one thing. And so the idea is what is the scope of the project? And that's basically set forth by the proposal that HydroPro provided at $765,000. Now, once the project has been approved in concept, which we hope to accomplish tonight, we can also take the next step as towards how to finance or pay for the project. So it's a chicken and the eggs to some extent, but the first step from our perspective, as well as from the entities that we've discussed financing with, they need to know what we're considering to finance. And so before you is this. We had a conference call with the representative, Mr. Daniel Trevino. He was actually in Kerrville today and asked if he needed to be here, and we told him that we thought that we could probably move forward based upon what he had, as well as the additional information that we talked about today for the scope. For instance, one of the things that's not readily transparent on the proposal is a module so that customers can log in and see their own consumption from their own desktop, as well as I believe he said there was a module for the phone. So we want to see what that costs. I know that Ingleside has it, but I don't know that it's incorporated with what we had before us. We also spoke with the city engineer with regards to this project, because you want to make sure that what you're doing is consistent with the big picture. And he's probably had more experiences than we have with this type of project. One of the questions that we had for the vendor was, we wanted confirmation that the CCN from the state that defines the geographic area of your water and sewer system can be handled by the project as it's proposed. You don't want to leave out part of town or part of the CCN. They also talked about how they would like to, and are planning to, based upon the cost reflected, to use your water tower as your primary antenna. I don't know the condition of that tower, so they're going to have to take a look.
Right.
And to confirm things up. This project budget does not include any contingency kits. One of the things they wanted to know or recommended is that the meter lids, if they're the old metal ones, don't allow for the radio signal to relay out very well. So they were recommending plastic lids. So, obviously we have some scope issues to try to figure out.
Well, we still do have some metal lids, concrete, but not very many.
I don't
we
know
do,
that, so when
yeah.
I'm having the conversation, we're running through the list, trying to figure out what are we missing or what do we need to figure out.
We placed it 2 years ago. And so those are the types of discussions that were held today as the project. They are a by-board vendor, which means we don't have to go through the public process. The by-board entity has already done that for you. And the only thing, the next step that we hope to determine that based upon comparison with the English side of the good price. Just because you can't use by-board doesn't mean it's good price. So that's part of the due diligence process that still remains, but it's our hope that you will empower your city administrator and your mayor to move forward with this project in a timely manner.
So I think that with the new pumps should be here next week, and it should be installed probably by we're in August, right? No, September. So by October, probably by the end of October, and then we'll start probably after the new year with servicing the water tower, and then installing the new water meters. We'll have pretty much a brand new water system for the whole city, and I think that would be fantastic.
There is a project manager who's coming, I believe, tomorrow to come take a look at the water tower. They basically pinpointed some areas for the antennas and repeaters. And I think it was like 2 or 3. I think there's an attachment here.
Right.
That one, because if they go over here, they have to pay.
Yeah.
Or somewhere else. What if they need servicing and stuff?
So where is the repeater?
So the primary collection point would be at 160 feet. So in this flat land, they want to get up high, so.
That's the water
signal
tower.
goes there. There was also references today to, for instance, the antennas behind City Hall as a way of collecting the data from the repeater stations. Yeah.
So I'm always going the wrong direction.
We've always used that
Yeah.
for years and years for different stuff, but it's too low.
So they usually 25 to 30 feet is what he said. So making clearance.
And so part of the discussion, as I indicated, is that I would feel better seeing the CCN geographic extent overlaid on this map to confirm that we have coverage of the area that you have within your system.
For future development, yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Now, we made mention of the fact that to pay for this, obviously you can't do it all at one time. And then working with the folks from Government Capital Assurance Corporation, they very quickly took a look at the scope of the project and said, well, if you do this and this and this, and we can phase it into 3 phases. The first phase being the first and second phases being the replacement of the meters themselves. You need to stop the bleeding.
Mhm.
The final phase would be the installation of the repeating technology in order to make it possible for your utility clerk within City Hall to do an automatic read of the citywide for the purposes of billings. These systems have built-in measures so that if you exceed consumption, either it's 3 times what it was the week before, or whatever it might be, you can have alarms that go off. I think I was told that you have one citizen right behind City Hall who, quite frankly, her water bills, you got a $3,000 receivable. And that's raised the issue of policies so that utility billing can move forward without it being a crisis or an unknown. But getting back to this aspect of your water system, by providing for a down payment, and maybe we'll just go to that at this point.
Well, let's, on this, approving the proposal, I mean,
Stay with the
we're gonna
project
stay with the
first.
proposal, and, I think, if, does anyone have any other questions as far as the proposal? But this doesn't
We can fine
mean,
tune it
yes,
later on.
this doesn't mean we're
Yeah.
gonna go with this. I still need to, like I said, I'm waiting on Ingleside because I want to make sure that what the price they're giving us is a good price. But if we don't have any other discussion, we can move forward with the motion to approve the proposal from HydroPro Solutions for a citywide remote meter project, and to finance the project. Um, We'll move forward with the vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
Yes.
So the motion carries. And so, Sal, I mean, you could just, you and start working on, and I will see, as soon as I get the email from Ingleside, I will forward that to you so we can do some comparison. I'll email it also to the rest of the council, forward it on to the council.
Just a side note on this, Mayor, too, also, we also have to have an audit too for all the lead, right? Lead bed pipes,
Our,
not lead,
the copper and lead.
which they'll do for us too, which is.
I am in talks with our current superintendent contractor and one of our staff members who's worked closely with them, that they possibly could get that taken care of. I need to follow up with them, but
So
yeah,
that's
the
an
alternative
Mhm.
would be this group at a nominal fee, of course.
Yeah.
But
good.
So then we'll move on to item E, discuss, consider, and take action to authorize the financing of HydroPro Solutions remote meter project as set forth by the Government Capital Corporation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilman Falcon. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Dominguez to authorize the financing of the HydroPro Solutions remote meter project. Do you have any discussion? That, Mr. Bain, can you scroll up through, this is the finance summary. And
These people that get involved with financing, particularly for smaller cities, and are no strangers, if you will, to financing organizations that may not have audits. Not having an audit is expensive. And you'll see that as we get into some of the details. Closely by, we've got the city of Memphis. There's apparently one of the longest relationships with this organization in terms of financing going back to 1993.
they've actually, I reached out to them and they've actually financed several capital projects too. So, and they said, they've had similar issues with finances and audits and stuff. So this might be a relationship that we might, have for a while, for other projects, since we have some other capital issues that we need to address. So this is a good starting point to build a relationship with these folks. Keep going there, Mr. Bain.
And so based upon the $760,000 price tag, what we ascertained last that if you broke it down into two initial phases, one of them being a $400,000 phase and the other one being a $200,000 phase, they have a program that they refer to as a small ticket program. And the small ticket program is limited to $250,000 per calendar year. Well, we're in September. So you could do a small ticket program for 2024 plus a small ticket program for January of 2025, and there you'd have more money than we would otherwise. And what they proposed is that with a $200,000 down payment, we would wind up with a payback of $49,000 per year for phase one, and then with a $200,000 payment for phase two, you'd have a $48,000 payment. Keep in mind the differences is 1 year. You'd be paid off all at one time at the end. I did go ahead and include phase three in order to get the amount financed to the total amount of the proposal of $765. This 7.365% rate is very high, folks. And it's because you don't have your audits.
I think that what I did like about the conversation that we had is that they said, because we're doing it in phases, when we come to the phase two, we may have our audits caught up. Well, our last, so, and then our financial situation obviously will look better on paper, and then we might get a lower interest rate. So that's kind of what I like about doing it in phases, because we won't be stuck to that one high interest rate for the whole project. So, obviously for phase one, we will be stuck with that interest rate, but come phase two, we may have those other audits out of the way, and, we might get a lower interest rate.
So is y'all's recommendation to do phase one now before the end of the year?
We're working through that question and issue. And part of that has to do with the bank reconciliations and so on and so forth. Just because you have money in the bank doesn't mean you can spend it. But we have, as part of the final budget preparation process, we have taken your approved budget, what is now your approved budget, and put that into a 12-month cash forecast. 65% of your ad valorem tax revenues are collected in January. So you have that big bump and so on and so forth. But from what we've seen, it appears that you can move forward with phase one this year, including the down payment. The budget that you adopted, as I indicated, has a payment for this project of $120,000. That was accomplished by reducing OS maintenance and repairs, but the two phases together get you to $197,000. Did I say 197?
Mm-hmm.
I just meant 97. I wanted to see if anybody flinched.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Wake
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
That's not a bad deal.
I think
And again, keep in mind, all these are preliminary numbers. We've just submitted the application with our data that they need to make that final decision. We're talking right now just to give you all and the public an idea of what we're looking at in the future, because nothing's been put pen to paper yet. No contract's been signed. So I want to make sure we understand, like, we're not going home. We are trying to get this done before the year ends, but nothing's been signed. There's lots of variables. Hopefully, I think the timing kind of worked out just because they work off the calendar year we work off a fiscal year, so we are kind of taking advantage of that time between October and January. So that's a little advantage. We are kind of, dragging our noses right now, but the timing
Another aspect of the project administration is that there will be an escrow account established. The down payment made by the city will go into an account, an escrow account, which is administered jointly by the city and the finance company, so that as vendor invoices come in and the city signs off on them, they're then submitted to the finance company to pay, and you have kind of like a DOS system. And that makes sure that the monies that you are accumulating and setting aside go for the project that it brings.
So it's basically, it's kind of similar to what we're going to be doing with the COG money, where the county, they'll be handling, we'll be making, the payment that'll go into that, and they'll handle paying out to the vendors, and we don't have to kind of handle that part of it. So I think that's
and there is it's interest bearing.
exactly. So
And the escrow account, it depends, right? But it is escrow. It is interest bearing. So and there's they usually build in about a 10% contingency just in case there's something unusual, because they don't know what's under the ground. They don't know what the connection looks like. So they have to kind of plan for that. So there's a possibility that we could actually spend a little less, and there's a possibility of having that interest also. It's going to come back and you're going to pay off a little quicker. There's really good options.
So that'll be kind of what we'll be working on this next year. And hopefully by the end of next year, we'll have a whole new water system in place. So,
And perhaps you're unaccountable for water.
that's the big thing. That's the big thing. So I have a motion by council proposed to take action to authorize the financing of the hydro solutions through a meter project as set forth by the Government Capital Corporation and seconded by Councilman Dominguez.
There is actually a resolution provided by the vendor for your use in your packet.
So if there's no further discussion, we'll move forward with phase one.
You think I have a resolution, yeah? Resolution here, yeah.
In your attachment.
But do we gotta put that?
That's not in the.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that thing is late, so that's something we'll probably have to revisit.
That's for the contract, we're not approving the contract.
Right.
You were,
So-
This is just for y'all to kind of look at. So like the next round will be, you're gonna authorize the mayor.
Right,
Yes,
right.
right.
once we make sure that the price is right and that, then we'll come back
This
and
is
we'll
just a
have.
sample of the resolution.
So that's kind of our security stamp there until we do that.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we're not approving the resolution.
No, not
Okay, you're just it's sort of like we're moving forward, everything's on the same page.
And yes, for item E.
Okay. Place 2? Place 3?
Yes.
Place 4?
Yes.
Place 5? So the motion carries. I have a motion by Councilman Bombon to adjourn. Second by Councilman Alvaro. The meeting's adjourned. Thank y'all very much. I'm gonna leave the binder.